Chirunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Deshatarine. Hare Krishna. We will continue to read Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita. When Abhay's mother said she wanted him to become a British lawyer when he grew up, which meant he would have to go to London to study, one of the Malik uncles thought it was a good idea. But Gaur Mohan would not hear of it. If Abhay went to England, he would be influenced by European dress and manners. He will learn drinking and women hunting. Gaur Mohan objected. I do not want his money. From the beginning of Abhay's life, Gaur Mohan had introduced his plan. He had hired a professional mridanga player to teach Abhay the standard rhythms for accompanying kirtan. Rajni had been skeptical. What is the purpose of teaching such a young child to play a mridanga? It is not important. But Gaur Mohan had his dream of a son who would grow up singing bhajans, playing mridanga, and speaking on Srimad Bhagavatam. When Abhay sat to play the mridanga, even with his left and right arms extended as far as he could, his small hands would barely reach the drum heads at the opposite ends of the drums. With his right wrist, he would flick his hand just as his teacher instructed, and his fingers would make a high-pitched sound. Te na, te na, te. And then he would strike the left drum head with his open left hand. Boom, boom. With practice and age, he was gradually learning the basic rhythms, and Gaur Mohan looked on with pleasure. Abhay was an acknowledged pet child of both his parents. In addition to his childhood names, Moti, Nandulal, Nandu, and Kocha, his grandmother called him Kachori Mukhi because of his fondness for kachoris, spicy vegetables stuffed fried pastries popular in Bengal. Both his grandmother and mother would give him kachoris, which he kept in the many pockets of his little vest. He liked to watch the vendors cooking on the busy roadside and accept kachoris from them and from the neighbors until all the inside and outside pockets of his vest were filled. Sometimes when Abhay demanded that his mother make him kachoris, she would refuse. Once she even sent him to bed. When Gaur Mohan came home and asked, where is Abhay? Rajni explained how he had been too demanding and she had sent him to bed without kachoris. Now we should make them for him, his father replied. And he woke Abhay and personally cooked puris and kachoris for him. Gaur Mohan was always lenient with Abhay and careful to see that his son got whatever he wanted. When Gaur Mohan returned home at night, it was his practice to take a little puffed rice, and Abhay would also sometimes with his father eating puffed rice. Once at a cost of 6 rupees, Gaur Mohan bought Abhay a pair of shoes imported from England. And each year, through a friend who traveled back and forth from Kashmir, Gaur Mohan would present his son a Kashmiri shawl with a fancy hand-sewn border. One day in the market, Abhay saw a toy gun he wanted. His father said no, and Abhay started to cry. All right, Gaur Mohan said, and he bought the gun. Then Abhay wanted another gun. You already have one, his father said. Why do you want another one? One for each hand, Abhay cried, and he lay down in the street, kicking his feet. When Gaur Mohan agreed to get the second gun, Abhay was pacified. Abhay's mother Rajni was 30 years old when he was born. Like her husband, she came from a long-established Gaudiya Vaishnava family. She was darker skinned than her husband, and whereas his disposition was cool, hers tended to be fiery. Abhay saw his mother and father living together peacefully, no deep marital conflict or complicated dissatisfaction even threatened home. Rajni was chaste and religious-minded, a model housewife in the traditional Vedic scene. dedicated to caring for her husband and children. Abhay observed his mother's simple and touching attempts to ensure by prayers, by vows, and by rituals that he continued to live. Whenever he was to go out, even to play, his mother, after dressing him, would put a drop of saliva on her finger and touch it to his forehead. Abhay never knew the significance of this act, but because she was his mother, he stood submissively like a dog with its master while she did it. Like Gaur Mohan, Rajini treated Abhay as the pet child. But wherever her husband expressed his love through leniency and plans for his son's spiritual success, she expressed hers through attempts to safeguard Abhay from all danger, disease, and death. She once offered blood from her breast to one of the demigods with the supplication that Abhay be protected on all sides from danger. At Abhay's birth, she made a vow to eat with her left hand until the day her son would notice and ask her why she was eating with the wrong hand. One day, when little Abhay actually asked, she immediately stopped. It had been just another prescription for his survival, for she thought that by the strength of her vow, he would continue to grow at least until he asked her about the vow. Had he not asked, she would never have again eaten with her right hand, and according to her superstition, he would have gone on living protected by her vow. For his protection, she also put an iron bangle around his leg. His playmates asked him what it was, and Abhay self consciously went to his mother and demanded, "Open this bangle." When she said, "I'll do it later," he began to cry, "No, now." Once Abhay swallowed a watermelon seed, and his friends told him it would grow in his stomach into a watermelon. He ran to his mother, who assured him he didn't have to worry. She would say a mantra to protect him. Srila Prabhupada, Mother Jasoda would chant mantras in the morning to protect Krishna from all dangers throughout the day. When Krishna kills some demon, she thought it was due to her chanting. My mother would do a similar thing with me. His mother would often take him to the Ganges and personally bathe him. She also gave him a food supplement known as Horlicks. When he got dysentery, she cured it with hot puris and fried eggplant with salt. Though sometimes when he was ill, Habib would show his obstinacy by refusing to take any medicine. But just as he was stubborn, his mother was determined, and she would forcibly administer medicine into his mouth, though sometimes it took three assistants to hold him down. Srila Prabhupada, I was very naughty when I was a boy. I would break anything. When I was angry, I would break the glass hookah pipes, which my father kept to offer to guests. Once my mother was trying to bathe me and I refused, and I knocked my head on the ground and blood came out. They came running and said, "What are you doing? You shall kill the child." Abhay was present when his mother observed the ceremony of Shadrahotra during the 7th and 9th month of her pregnancies. Freshly bathed, she would appear in new clothing along with her children and enjoy a feast of whatever food she desired, while her husband gave goods in charity to the local brahmanas who chanted mantras for the purification of the mother and the coming child. Abhay was completely dependent on his mother. Sometimes she would put his shirt on backwards and he would simply accept it without mentioning it. Although he was sometimes stubborn, he felt dependent on the guidance and the reassurance of his mother. When he had to go to the privy, he would jump up and down beside her, holding sari and saying, "Urine, mother, urine." Okay, so we can stop here. Just so beautiful. Here it's just so nice to see Srila Prabhupada's like the childhood days, how he was, and his relationship with his mother. As we can see that Srila Prabhupada, he really had that strong relationship. Like he had relationship with both father and mother, whereas father was a little lenient, but mother was thinking all the time about his protection, and he was really the pet child of his parents. It's just so beautiful to go into Prabhupada's pastimes. So with that, I'll